Welcome back to Fourth and Pay, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker. I am the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll, and joining us on the hotline is, honest to God, a friend of mine and sincerely my favorite broadcaster in the area just because of his poetic delivery. You know him very well. Grant Paulsen, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Marvelous.
Marvelous. Now, Grant, before we get down and talk about perhaps a new quarterback coming into the Washington Redskins this week, got to talk business, talk a little bit about what the team may be facing against the Minnesota Vikings. Tough loss last week against the Atlanta Falcons. They go out, they make the kicker switch. Maybe that whole game wasn't completely on Billy Cundiff, but how do you see things playing out this weekend against the Vikings?
Well, it's unfortunate for Billy Cundiff because everything that I've been able to experience over the last few weeks would indicate that he's a real good guy, and he's had some very good seasons in the NFL, including 2 years ago when he kicked at a Pro Bowl level and went to Hawaii to celebrate a tremendous individual effort. But he just wasn't good enough over these 5 games, unfortunately, and because of that, the Redskins have moved along. He missed 5 kicks in his last 8 attempts, the 3 of them in one game against the Bucs, where Washington only wins by 2 points, nearly cost them a football game. And he missed a 31-yard chip shot. And anytime your touchback percentage, which for him this season is 65%, is greater than your field goal percentage, which was 58%, you're just not clicking as effectively and efficiently as you need to be. So they're going in a different direction. They'll bring in Kai Forbath, the kicker, who in 2009 was the Luke Rose Award winner for being the finest in the nation collegiately at UCLA. He, as you guys may know, was an undrafted free agent in 2011, kicked with the Cowboys before getting injured, with the Bucs this preseason, and was impressive. 5 for 5, actually hit a 55-yarder, kicked against 2 veterans today, and despite the fact that he's never kicked in a regular season game, they're going to go with him moving forward. He becomes the 19th kicker in 19 seasons for the Redskins, and they're hoping finally with a kid, even if they suffer through some growing pains, maybe that they found someone who's a long-term answer. So we'll see if that's the case. But this was a necessary move, as unfortunate as it is for Cundiff, just because you need a slam dunk at your kicker position, and it was proven over these last handful of games that Cundiff was not going to be that guy.
You got to love this guy's delivery.
Well, yes, absolutely. That's why he is who he is.
No
but
doubt.
that leads me to a question. The guy is the best kicker in college football. He's 5 for 5 in the preseason. He's making 50-plus yarders. How did he not have a home already?
It's a great question. And there's a lot of good kickers available. And I think Graham Gano is a pretty quality NFL kicker. He made 13 of his last 14 kicks last year. He made a 59-yard kick. And he tweeted today that he just had a workout, and he went 45 for 48 and made a kick from 55 yards. And yet he doesn't have a job either. I mean, there are multiple Pro Bowlers on the market. It's just a brutal industry. And kickers, like long snappers, are guys, Adam, who, if they mess up in a big spot twice in one season, they may lose their job. And I'm not going to begin to tell you that their job is any less difficult than, let's say, yours as a defensive end, because that's not the case at all. But if you mess up on 2 plays in a game, fans may not even know about it. And that's just not the case for them. Why doesn't he have a job? Part of it, I think, has to do with kickoffs, where he never really proved in college that he was a reliable NFL-caliber option. I'm very curious to see how he does in that capacity with the Redskins. But he was 10 for 13 on kicks beyond 50. He does have a very strong leg. He's known for being accurate. So he's really been waiting on this opportunity, and health played into it as well, as he got hurt when he was trying out for the Cowboys last year. And so now he'll try to make the most of really the first chance he's gotten.
Now, Grant, let me ask you, I mean, we just spoke about Graham Gano a little bit. I understand that the team actually reached out to him early on maybe Monday or Tuesday and then kind of said, you know what, don't bother coming in for the workout. We know what you can do. And then they still brought in the trio of other kickers. Why did they decide to go in a different direction instead of bringing back Gano, who you just said connected on 13 of his previous 14 kicks?
Well, they did call him, according to what I've learned, and told him basically, hey, go take a physical. We're going to bring you to Redskins Park. As he was in the process, apparently, of getting this physical done, they called back and basically said they changed their mind. They were going to work out 3 other kickers. I mean, it's just kind of heartbreaking if you're Gano, and it's one of those stories you hear that makes you almost kind of like, grit your teeth a little bit. It's just the football is a business-type anecdote. It's sad for Gano, but sounds to me like the scouting department made the call and was ready to bring him in to work him out. You know, the Redskins, as you guys know, Shanahan talks about it all the time, have a list of available players at every position, a depth chart of sorts, so that if they're going to bring someone in, they know who to call. And my guess is that Gano was fairly high on that list, but from what I was told, somebody higher than that department made the decision that we're not going to work out Gano, that they go in a different direction. But who that was, I don't know. But that's what I've heard about what happened yesterday.
Grant Paulsen joining us here on 4th and Pain. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Grant H. Paulsen. And Grant, question for you before we move on and start looking at the Vikings a little bit. Obviously sitting next to Adam Carriker here, how is this defensive line suffering in his absence? This is your chance to make the man feel good.
Well, it's become very obvious, Adam, that the Redskins have struggled to rush the passer when just utilizing 3 defensive linemen since your injury in St. Louis. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the air with you. I was doing a hit a few minutes ago on 106.7, and I said the same thing. I mean, since Adam Carriker's departure, the pass rush as a defensive front is dissipated. Now, I do think the Redskins are playing the run very well. Now, Stephen Bowen specifically, you saw Brady Cofield make some very nice plays, and I think operating well with his run fits against the rush. Washington is one of the best-rated teams right now in the conference for a reason. But it's become an issue now that they have to blitz to get to the quarterback. In the NFL, when that happens, you're going to make life real tough on your secondary. You look at this week as an example. Matt Ryan drops back over 50 times. He was pressured on just 4 occasions. He was sacked only once. You cannot end drives and get home on 3rd down and force punts and create takeaways like the Redskins need to and every other team plans to if you're not pressuring the quarterback more than 4 times on 50-plus dropbacks. And so I think it's very obvious, Adam. The boys need you healthy. They need you collapsing the pocket from the interior. They need you coming off the edge. And I guess very soon next season, they'll be able to get that part of that defense back.
Well, no, I appreciate that. Those are some kind words from a very wise man. But I'm going to rush to the aid of my boys here a little bit because playing defensive line, especially rushing the passer, when you're running pass rush games, it's a lot like the O-line. You have to have cohesiveness. You have to have been working with those guys as a unit. And when all of a sudden you lose a rack and you lose myself, it's going to take them a little while to get that cohesiveness and that, like I would look at Barry and we'd already know what we were going to do. I guarantee they don't have that with Jarvis yet. And I guarantee that's something that they'll develop as the season goes along. I think they'll get better and better. That being said, I cannot wait till next year. I am bored to death. I'm enjoying the show, but I can't wait to play me some football again.
I believe that. And it should be noted, I think Jarvis Jenkins is playing very well. But there is a reason why, with everybody healthy at the start of this season, this coaching staff said, Adam Carriker, the guy we paid a lot of money to this season as a free agent, knowing Jenkins would be healthy as our starter. We like Jenkins' versatility to play both left and right, and he's the first guy off the bench, and he'll be inside and nickel, and he'll help us rush the passer. The problem is, when you lose a guy like Adam Carriker, then Jenkins is your starter, and obviously, as you said, there's some continuity that's not there after a season plus next to Cofield, and I completely agree with that. But it's not just that as much as it's the drop-off then for Tier 2. It's the fact that the plan coming into the year was that Barry Cofield play 55% of snaps as a nose tackle. He can't do that anymore. Because instead of him coming off the field on all your 3rd downs and all your passing situations to have Jenkins come in, well, Jenkins is already in it then. So now what do? Do you have another pass rushing, get up the field, get after the quarterback defensive end? Now, I'm not convinced that's the case. I think Doug Worthington's played well in limited opportunities. I think Kendrick Golston is a run-stuffing, stout player, a core Redskin who's been around since 2006. He's the kind of guy I'd have on my football team every single year if I had the choice to. But you do not have that Jenkins-like pass-rushing specialist with that 6'5" size, the reason he went 41st overall in the draft. And that, to me, is what's lacking a little bit right now.
All right, Grant. Well, let's stay focused on this defensive line right now. What are they in store for against the Minnesota Vikings this weekend? What can they do to shut down Adrian Peterson?
I think against Adrian Peterson, first of all, you just got to make sure that you make open field tackles, number one. And that's not specific to the defensive line as much as it is a theme for this defense all week long. He's the kind of guy who's so shifty and so elusive. Watch Sean McCoy, Alfred Morris to some extent has this ability with the Redskins. There's certain guys who very rarely just get dropped in their tracks by a defender who's waiting on them because they move so much. Got that the water bug-like shiftiness where he's hopping all over the place. And so missed tackles more than any other week for me this week in the running game are going to be a pivotal number to keep. As far as up front, I think it's as simple as just each player doing their job and their fit and kind of staying home, allowing your linebackers to flow to the football. Terry Riley's coming off a 10-tackle week. London Fletcher at 20 stops this past game. But those guys, I think, are seeing everything well, and they're getting to the football, and they're flowing, and that means that the players in front of them are attracting blocks and doing exactly what they're supposed to. But you want Adrian Peterson, I think, this week to have to earn everything. Christian Ponder is not Matt Ryan. And he is not Drew Brees, who you played earlier this season. He's not even Sam Bradford. He's good, but right now he's good because he's a game manager. Let him manage. Let him dink and dunk. Take your chances with him by shutting down Peterson.
All right. Now, Adam, Adrian Peterson, he's coming into FedEx Field. Last year he suffers the horrific knee injury here. Is he going to be playing with a little bit more pepper? Would you be playing with a little more pepper the next time you go to St. Louis?
Well, that's a little bit different animal, me in St. Louis to begin with. But as far as the fact that he got hurt here, I doubt it. I'm sure he knows that, I got hurt there, but I doubt if he's going to be angry at anybody on the team or angry at the stadium for that matter. I will say this. I have played against him, Nebraska, Oklahoma. I played against him in college. That man, he doesn't run angry. He runs with hatred in his heart. I've literally seen him run at tacklers, not away, not just directly at them to run them over and just stare him as he's stepping on them. And he's obviously a great running back. The other thing I will say is that Minnesota offensive line is fairly big. That right tackle, excuse me, I played against him the past couple of years, Phil Loadholt, I think he's 6'8", 6'7", 340. He's a big dude. So they got a pretty physical O-line. But I think our defensive line, as Grant said earlier, is good at stopping the run. So I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Now, their defensive line are going to be looking to key in on RG3. Obviously, a lot of talk this week about his status after he was, quote, shaken up with a mild concussion against the Atlanta Falcons last week. But I understand that Kirk Cousins may not be the answer. I understand that Rex Grossman may not be the backup to RG3. I understand, Adam Carriker, that there may be an unheralded, undrafted rookie waiting in the wings.
Well, see, so I think this guy's been working out in silence and just kind of waiting for his opportunity. And I have this photo here, and he's sitting here and he's practicing his throwing motion. And the guy is what? How tall would you say he is?
He's got 2 inches on me, so I'd say like 5'8".
5'8". How much would you say he weighs?
I'd say he's a 215, 220.
So basically, he's going to come in. He's going to run that triple option just like RG3 did. He's going to wing the ball downfield just like Brett Favre used to. And I'm curious, Grant Paulsen, because that's a picture of you. And I have this picture, and I'm going to put it out there on Twitter for all to see that you are a quarterback in waiting. So here's my question. I want to know what your training routine has been. What have you been eating? What has your practice schedule been like? What kind of weights you've been lifting here? Because I can tell in this picture you're very serious about this.
Well, let's see. I just drove through a fast food lane about 4 minutes ago. So that's pretty much how I'm getting ready for this game. That's your lunch of champions. I've been training religiously. I've been punching, hanging frozen meats. I've been drinking eggs raw. I've been climbing steps. I've been doing a little bit of everything I can. What I normally do, today's Tuesday, so tonight I'll end my routine by going out into my yard and trying to chop a tree down with an axe. So that's kind of the things I like to do. Sometimes if I get really bored, I'll get like a smart car and I'll just try to like push it end over end for a half mile or so. Things like that. Just your basic, normal routines, I'd say.
Have you been chasing any chickens?
I actually, yes, that's my normal move.
I like it.
How I start every morning, actually.
I would love to see Grant Paulsen's face on the side of the Redskins' 81st anniversary bus, just going town to town, trumpeting up support for the team. There's GP leading the way.
If you don't believe it, I do have this pick. I will post it on my Twitter. Be sure to check it out, folks. At Adam Carriker 94. It's just a regular pick, but it's just a man fulfilling his dreams.
It is tremendous, and I'm sure it's going to get a retweet from at Grant H. Paulsen on Twitter as well. Paulsen.
If I'm starting, by the way, this weekend, then I think I may have to change my pick. I like the Vikings by a lot.
I think I'm going to concur with you on that one, probably.
Hey, well, just make sure that you get in some work with Coach Keim on your lean, okay?
That's right. I need some good base. I need to rotate my hips.
I like it.
Grant Paulsen, a treat as always on Fourth and Pain. Thanks so much for your time, bud.
Thank you.
All right, boys. Take care. Thanks.
This is Fourth and Pain. We'll be right back.